Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer out there in Nolan's. And we are looking at a 4-game slate here on Thursday. Got a couple game videos and our player props. In this one, we're taking a look at the Nuggies playing host to the Los Angeles Clippers. Also got, like I said, the other game video and our player props up, so make sure you are following along all season long with us. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we have all of our great written content for you, everything we're talking about here, and our odds finder tool. You can use that to make sure you're getting the best odds available at all these U.S. sports books, giving you guys NBA bets this season. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into this slate and then talk about these Nugs and Clips.
Yeah, pretty straightforward slate in terms of the games you want to look at here, and those are the games we break down for you. We're not going to touch Memphis -7 at Orlando, even though they just blew out Charlotte. It's a back-to-back situation. Franz Wagner back there. The other game we do talk about, Boston's -3 at Dallas, despite their road struggles, and the total's a little high at 232, we think. Utah -7 at Houston. Good luck predicting that one as well. And then we get to the Clippers +5 at Denver. And as always, you got to stay on top of the injury news with the Clippers. It's going to be a late start in their last game. Kawhi was the late scratch. Now we have PG questionable with the hamstring. If you want to bet on Denver and just assume that one of those guys or both is suddenly going to be a late scratch, I don't think that's a bad approach. This is a front end of a back-to-back for both teams. Clippers have to go up to Minnesota tomorrow, and that's kind of a tough travel spot. Of course, they are 4-1 in the last 5 ends of front ends of back-to-backs, but against like really bad opponents. And, some of them they had to claw for a win, like that game against Detroit, which I think I should address off the top here, is that my biggest take is that the Joker's going to eat here, and the Nuggets offense is going to continue their ridiculous efficiency at home. You look at the game log for bigs against the Clippers recently. Bam, 31-13. Miles Turner, 34 with Halliburton diming him up. Siakam, 36 points. Beef Stew and Jalen Duren in that Pistons game, both combining for about 30 points, with Killian Hayes dropping 11 dimes to them. And then, of course, Embiid a monster line. So it all adds up to the Clippers giving up the most points per game to centers in their last 7. And now you're facing Joker, who has, of course, roasted the Clippers last 4, 30, 14, and 8. No problem with Zubats. And for, all those big lines I'm talking about, they're mostly with Kawhi and PG playing. And Ty Lue's got some tough decisions to make. He almost has he has too many wings at his disposal and not enough, tough versatile defenders like Mook Morris, kind of over the hill at this point. Maybe like 5 years ago, he could be your small ball 5 and be that tough force there against the pick and roll. But yeah, they're getting roasted. And on the road, there are a lot of numbers indicating the over for the Clippers, most notably that their offense has stepped up to the challenge because their defense has been worse. And they're somehow third in offensive efficiency on the road, somehow dead last at home. Like I said in the Celtics video, 228 for this game and 232 for the Celtics game. I feel like those are wrong, both of them. And I would take the over on this one for sure. The way the Nuggets are playing, of course, it's a beautiful offense to watch. They've gone over in 5 of their last 6, I believe now. And of course, yeah, if Joker's going to have his way and Jamal Murray's also going to be out there, I think we continue to see some great offense from them. I look at their team total as well as the over-under in general here. Unless you're scared that Kawhi or PG might suddenly sit, then you're still safe with just the team total.
Yeah, I guess that's the question too, though, is like with Kawhi and PG, the offensive rating of the team obviously goes up, but they're also better on defense. You've got 2 of the best wing defenders in the league. This is a team in Denver, like you said, wing defense is important. not necessarily specifically 3-point defense. There aren't quite as many 3-point shooters on this team this year as you've seen in the past around Joker. But there's just plenty of guys who cut to the basket super duper well. And points in the paint, not necessarily a problem for the Clips. They are still better in top half of the league in terms of not allowing points in the paint on the road, especially. But it's not necessarily like this is your normal team getting points in the paint. I would say this isn't just one guy backing you down and getting buckets, although I would argue this is the best or second best guy at backing you down to get buckets between he and Embiid. And then passing off of that as well, where the Clips do give up a ton of assists to centers as well as points in the bottom 5 of both of those categories on the whole season. As you mentioned, most points to centers over their last 7 games, or 7 days rather, I should say. But, I do like an over when you look at the bench scoring. A lot of times we talk about who's going to, is this game going to stall out when the second unit comes in? 4th best offensive rating for the Clips bench, 6th best for the Nuggies bench. So I think you feel pretty good about that. I don't have much to go off of as far as the matchup in the last 5 times that they've played, because neither PG or Kawhi have played in any of those games. Denver did win all 5 of those games, sometimes handily, most of the time by, at least 5-6 points, if not double digits. And even when Kawhi and PG did play 2 years ago against this team, neither of them put up great stats. 44% field goal percentage for Kawhi on just 19 points, and then 33% from the field for PG on 17 a game, and 17 field goal attempts a game. So needing 17 points on 17 attempts is not great. Neither of them getting to the line. So, Denver doesn't really foul. They have a pretty good opponent, free throw attempt rate. They are not quite going over at home, I will say. Not because they're not scoring and not because their games are not averaging a lot of points. I believe on the road, their games are averaging 231 or so. It was they're scoring 213 or so in their last bout of games there, and then giving up, it's 122 to 114. So 236 totals. And there's they've gone over 4 times, right? 4 and 4 to the over in their last 8, despite scoring 122 points a game and allowing 114. Those are just high totals. And so this one is much lower because of that Clippers defense. But it's not it's the same Clippers defense that scares you the way that it has, in the past. They are doing things certain well that Denver likes to do on offense. They are limiting free throw attempts, which is good. They have a really good opponent field goal percentage because they're just hot. They do try really hard all over the floor and do a good job of not fouling when you get there. They do limit, offensive rebounds as well for other teams as a pretty good rebounding team. But this is a different story in terms of rebounding team. Denver is one of the best rebounding teams in the league, especially on the offensive side, when you have Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. both flying in. When they're both in, they're really, really scary in that sense, running rim to rim as well. So I think all of that leads to pace. We always love to pick on Michael Porter Jr. and say when he's in, they're likely to score more. They're definitely likely to give up more. So all that really helps us out there. I just expect another big game from the Joker. He's been putting up 30 and 13 in the last 5 against this team. I don't know why Kawhi or PG are going to come in and change too much of that. Maybe they're able to limit some assists because of their wing defense with those guys in, but I'm still feeling good about the game flow getting us, over 228 in this game.
Yeah, I would have a hard time imagining Denver scoring below 118 or something in this matchup, as they have at home, like you said, against anybody. And I don't think the total's that low because of the Clippers' defense. I think it's because the first month of the year they were the worst offensive team in the league, right. And now they're much better. And it's not just Kawhi and PG. You got Norm Powell, you got Luke Kennard playing well, mixing it up with that second unit. And I think that's a big note to think here with the over 2, because as soon as Joker sits, all of a sudden, Denver just bleeds points. So I think you're going to get one of those situations where the second quarter helps you keep the pace up, keep the scoring up. And then we go into halftime and you're already at 140 for the total. I definitely see it happening that way here with a Western Conference game, regular season game, front end of the back-to-back, not going to be high intensity like in the playoffs when these teams did play, of course, lower scoring games. But yeah, you look at the last regular season meetings without Kawhi and PG, and the Clippers posting a 120 offensive rating and scoring 116 without those guys. And Kawhi not scoring a ton in his last 4 regular season against Denver, but his efficiency is off the charts. And, we talk about him just being a tough shot maker. Even if they put Aaron Gordon on him or anything, like he's still going to keep your offense on pace. And the Clippers clearly know that they're going to have to score to keep to match the Joker and company.
Yeah, and it's though I don't think we really harped on enough the sort of trend for the Clips on the road as well. Like you said, you worry about their offense coming along for the ride. It's only a 228 total. I say only in the modern day NBA. That's an only. But they're 13-7 to the over on the road are the Clips. They're going over by about 7.5 against that total each time, scoring about 114 on the road versus 105 at home. Right. So somehow, as you noted in some of our notes, their third offensive, have the third best offensive efficiency at home and the absolute worst 30th other way around. Third best offense efficiency on the road, worst at home. So like maybe they hated crypto.com or whatever. At this point, they a name change was the Clips were anti name change, but they are just not played well in that building on offense. I even look, Kawhi's played the same amount of games on the road as he has at home this season. There's no weird splits there. So they're just better and playing a bit faster on the road. So I think we can rely on that one here as well. And that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Check out the other couple videos we have up for you today. And until we see you next, happy betting.